Hi guys, so as I mentioned in class, I wanted to make sure to give you guys an extra tool for calculating the mean, median, mode, the standard deviation, and the variance for a set of data, because usually you won't have to calculate it all by hand. Sadly, the STAR test that is coming up requires you to calculate these things by hand, but I also wanted to give you a view into the real world where you can actually use a tool. So the tool I'm going to show you how to use is just your spreadsheets in Google Drive. We all have access to them through our high-tech high email accounts. And I've already got all my data in my spreadsheet. So if you remember, what I looked at in my localized data study was males and females walking in between 8:30 and 9:10 to the main commons, and whether or not they were in dress code. So I looked at, I have my 8 time slots. I looked at the males. I counted up how many males there were in each time slot, how many females, how many were in dress code, either gender, not in dress code, and then broke it down even further to the males in dress code, males not in dress code, etc., and then the total. So if I wanted to calculate the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and variance, there are a few different commands or formulas that the program recognizes. First of all, I want you to remember that at least 2 of your categories, so right here I have 8, you should also have 8. 2 of them need to be done by hand just to get that extra practice in calculating these by hand. The rest can be done using these formulas that I'm about to show you. So I'm trying to find the mean, and I want you guys to remember that another word for mean, I'll type it right here, is just the average. Whenever we talk about the average in statistics, we're just talking about the mean. So the formula for doing that, setting that up, and anytime you type in a formula into a spreadsheet, you always start off with equals, because it's going to say, okay, I want you to calculate something. So it's equals the average. Okay, we want it to calculate the average, and notice it pops up with 2 options here. So we're going to click that first one because we want it to calculate the average, and we want to calculate the average of these 8 data points, 6, 1, 2, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. So I could either type those in right here, or I can just click on one box and drag down to 1, to the last one, and then close off the parenthesis and press enter. And it gives me the average of those data points. If you added these up and divided by 8, you would get 1.5. So for median, it's a really similar process. You start with equals, tell the spreadsheet to calculate, type in median. There it is. You can click on it, and then click your first data point and drag down to your last data point and close off your parenthesis. Press enter, and you've got 1. That's your median. For mode, can you guess what it is? It's just mode. So click on mode, click your data points. So those ones are fairly nice. The names of the formulas are exactly the name of what we're calculating. Standard deviation are a little bit different. Not much though. So for standard deviation, you're just going to type in STDEV. Starts right there. So you can click on that, click your data points, click and drag, close off your parenthesis. There you go. And then variance is just, remember your equal sign, VAR. So it's that first one. Click on the 6, down to the 1, and close off your parenthesis. And it calculates all of those for you. Remember that the variance is also just the standard deviation squared. So you could just take this number right here and square it and type it into the variance. That would be another option. So you could go in and type in all these formulas and click and drag, but one great thing about these spreadsheets is if I just copy these cells, the ones that I already typed in the formulas to, so I'm going to use Control C, so the CTRL and then typing C at the same time. If I click on the box underneath the females where I want it to start calculating and do Control V, it already changes the range. So if you look at this one, it was doing the B column, this one, so the males. This one it already knows, oh, she probably wants me to deal with the C column. So it switches to the C column. So those, I didn't have to change anything. The calculator knew what I wanted, so it did it for me. And then I can just paste all the way across, and it will calculate it for each column without me having to type in any more of those formulas. And then I'm able to find the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and variation of each one.